Well, I can only say this was a good event for me. Really was a good event, and I enjoyed every single second of it. Was a pretty much good event. Aside of the main event, which was the most boring fight I've ever seen, the event was pretty much up and coming. It was full of surprises. It was stacked with upsets, and I can only say that this event is going to be one of the worst events to remember if you're talking about the main event, but one of definitely the best events if we're going to talk about all other aspects of the game. Now, aside of Belal Muhammad becoming a champ with with his boring fighting style, we can give some criticism. For example, some of decision fights that should have never been decision fights in the first place. I can share some criticism, but I can share some positive energy too. I was looking forward to this fight card badly, and it started like a pretty much of an ordinary card. Shona Bannon versus Shona Bannon versus Ali Sardelian was a very close fight. I didn't think Shona Bannon won, and honestly, when they gave her a decision nod, like a split decision nod, I was a bit in the state of shock. That's not what I was expecting, but at the end of the day, you can't you can't always anticipate properly, and Shona Bannon deserved to win this one. She definitely deserved everything because her opponent didn't march forward. But again, to me, it still was a close fight. It's all about how many strikes you eat. It's all about how many strikes you can land. And I kind of disagree a bit with the decision, but again, it's all about other things that didn't come to fruition. She wasn't having a good night, but luckily, judges didn't think that way, and she won. She won. She did it well. Now the next fight. The next fight was also tricky. I was 1 out of 1 in the first fight, but after the next fight was pretty much tricky as I've seen some strange things, pretty much strange things going on. And for example, the first thing that came to fruition, Mick Parkin versus Łukasz Brzezicki, that was my first miss, which didn't go well. I was thinking it was gonna go fight starts round 3. I thought Mick Parkin wasn't gonna knock Łukasz Brzezicki out, but Mick Parkin did what I didn't expect and beat the shit out of his opponent, not knock the shit out of him. Great performance. Sam Patterson versus Kiefer Crosby was my first bet. I had fight not going the distance. Patterson submitted him, thanks God, and it went really, really well for me. I was super happy, and the next fight was even more impressive. Modestas Bukauskas defeated Marcin Prachnio. I had fight starts round 3, but for me this is a good candidate for the fight of the night because pulling out a submission from that position, especially that kind of arm triangle, is pretty nasty, pretty difficult. But I'm so glad for Buka. 3 out of 4. Robin Elliott versus Preston Parsons. I had fight not going the distance. Fight went the distance. Robin Elliott won fair and square. 3 out of 5. Muhammad Mokaev versus Manel Kape. I had Mokaev 4 out of 6. But Mokaev is such a pervert. I'll make a video on Muhammad Mokaev and his perverted actions. This guy is such a pervert. He is, it seems he's having problems with his testosterone, and I can only say that he did a tremendous job, but man, he nearly ripped his opponent's shorts off. He nearly took his shorts off, and I'm going to make a video about what kind of perv he really is. Jake Hadley versus Kalam Gran. I said Hadley to win, easy win. Then Bruno Brazil versus Molly McCann was the third surprise. I had McCann winning. Meatball Molly lost that fight, and I can only say this was a pretty much of a difficult victory, pretty much of a difficult performance for Molly McCann. She didn't do well. Nathaniel Wood versus Daniel Pineda. I said over 2.5 or Nathaniel Wood to win. Wood won 6 out of 9. Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze was my second bet, 7 out of 10. He did a great job. I mean, Arnold Allen. I can't forgive myself for placing a bet against Giga Chikadze because Giga Chikadze is one of my favorite fighters, but that's what I did. Am I happy? No, I'm not. But I won money, 2 out of 2 with bets. Gregory Rodriguez, Christian Lira Duncan. I said over 1.5. And side call was Rodriguez, so I was 100% right about this one. Now I bounced to 8 out of 11. Then Paddy Pimbot versus Bobby Green. Fight not going the distance was my prediction. I said Pimbot submission or Green KO TKO. Green made a horrible fight IQ by shooting into Paddy. He tried to take Paddy down, and it was a horrible call by him. He should have never tried to take Paddy down because it was a big, big problem knowing how good Paddy is on the ground. Great performance by Paddy Pimbot. He finished him with a triangle armbar, but Green was out before that finish. Excellent victory. Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blaydes. I said fight not going the distance. Side call Aspinall. Aspinall TKO'd him in the first. Excellent victory by Tom Aspinall. Belal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards. I had over 2.5, and I was pleased with that because it cashed. 3 out of 3 bets cashed. What I don't like is the fact that it was the most boring title fight I've ever seen. Not because of Leon wanted to fight, but this other guy, Belal, is such a boring guy, one of the most boring guys I've ever seen. And I'm sorry because we had to go through this. But at the end of the day, it just, you know, shit happens. Now Palestine has its first ever UFC champ, very influential guy. But at the end of the day, I think Belal deserved this title shot. 4-1 or 3-2 Belal. I scored it 4-1, could have been 3-2 also, but he won fair and square. Overall, aside of the main event, excellent card. Enjoyed it, and I'm happy. The happiest because Bukauskas won again. Catch you later. Now I'm go to sleep. Then I will make a whole video on Makaev's pervert intentions. Catch you.